Pickup pricing is about to face its first real test in decades. Chinese trucks, priced around $19,999, are approaching the US market window. That single number disrupts the entire ladder. The part rarely mentioned, it pressures prices whether you buy now or later. These are the trucks that break the pricing floor, corner legacy brands, and quietly rewrite resale math. Wuling Zhengtu. The first crack in the pricing wall does not come from luxury, speed, or spectacle, but from something far more unsettling: simplicity executed at scale. The Wuling Zhengtu enters the pickup conversation without apology and without ornament, and that is precisely why it matters. This truck is not designed to impress from across a parking lot or dominate social media thumbnails. It exists to answer one blunt question that legacy brands have avoided for years: how inexpensive can a real pickup be when branding, excess technology, and inflated margins are removed from the equation? The answer is uncomfortable. The Zhengtu is a body-on-frame pickup built by the SAIC General Motors Wuling Partnership, a manufacturing alliance that already produces vehicles in volumes American brands can only envy. Scale is the secret weapon here, and the Zhengtu is its cleanest expression. At a glance, the Zhengtu looks familiar in a way that feels intentional. The squared front fascia, upright stance, and straightforward bed proportions reflect decades of pickup design without trying to reinterpret them. There is no aggressive lighting signature, no sculpted hood bulge, no attempt to suggest performance beyond its purpose. This restraint signals something important. The money went into making the truck exist at a lower cost, not into making it look expensive. Steel panels are flat and efficient to stamp. The bed is functional and tall enough to carry tools, materials, and equipment without decorative cutouts or unnecessary complexity. The result is a truck that looks honest because it is. Underneath, the engineering follows the same logic. A traditional ladder frame supports the structure, prioritizing durability and ease of repair. Power comes from small displacement gasoline engines paired with manual or simple automatic transmissions, chosen for reliability and global serviceability rather than performance headlines. Output figures are not meant to dominate comparison charts, yet they meet the basic demands of hauling, light towing, and daily use. This is not about winning races. It is about doing work without financial strain. Inside the cabin, expectations are reset immediately. The interior is minimal but not careless. Controls are physical, screens are modest, and materials are selected for longevity rather than visual drama. Seats are upright and supportive, designed for repeated entry and exit throughout the day. Storage spaces are practical and easy to clean. Nothing inside suggests cost-cutting through fragility. Instead, the message is durability over indulgence. That choice has consequences for pricing that ripple far beyond this single model. Here is where the Zhengtu becomes disruptive. In its home market, this truck is priced closer to what many Americans associate with used vehicles, not new ones. Even when accounting for regulatory costs, shipping, and compliance changes, the core manufacturing cost remains dramatically lower than anything produced domestically at similar scale. This creates a psychological shock. Once consumers see a real pickup offered near the $19,999 threshold, it reframes every other price tag on the lot. Suddenly, the question becomes unavoidable: what exactly justifies paying double? This truck also exposes a structural vulnerability. Many American pickups rely on complexity to justify cost. Large touchscreens, layered trims, and escalating option packages have become profit centers. The Zhengtu shows what happens when those layers are removed. The remaining product is still a truck, still capable, still useful. That realization weakens the narrative that modern pickups must be expensive by default. Emotionally, the disruption comes from discomfort rather than excitement. The Zhengtu does not threaten pride through performance. It threatens confidence through math. It forces manufacturers, dealers, and consumers to confront the possibility that years of price escalation were not inevitable but chosen. That is a far more destabilizing idea than any horsepower comparison. That baseline pulls pricing pressure into the center of the segment. Familiar mid-size proportions erase distance, forcing direct comparison across lots, listings, daily ownership decisions. Dealer explanations thin, pricing logic strains, affordability stops feeling exceptional. It starts feeling repeatable, but there is another factor pushing this shift faster than expected. One that looks ordinary, fits comfortably into the segment, and quietly accelerates recalibration across the market. JAC T8 Pro. The real disruption never announces itself loudly. It shows up looking ordinary and leaves the market arguing afterward. The JAC T8 Pro earns its place on this list, not by redefining what a pickup can be, but by quietly redefining what a normal one costs. Where the previous entry strips a truck down to bare fundamentals, the T8 Pro takes a different approach. It asks a more dangerous question. What happens when a mid-size pickup delivers familiar proportions, modern comfort, and credible performance without carrying the financial weight people have learned to accept as unavoidable? The answer lands squarely in the most contested part of the market, and that is exactly why this truck matters. From the outside, the T8 Pro looks immediately recognizable, and that familiarity is intentional. The front end carries a confident grille and balanced headlamp design that avoids extremes. It does not chase aggression, nor does it retreat into anonymity. The proportions sit firmly in the mid-size category, with a wheelbase and overall length that feel right at home in driveways, parking structures, and work sites alike. Body lines are clean, panels are simple to manufacture, and the overall shape reflects a truck designed to be lived with rather than showcased. That design choice carries strategic weight. When a truck looks this normal, comparisons become unavoidable. People do not compare it to concepts or future promises. They compare it to what they already know. And when those comparisons reach pricing, the tension begins. The T8 Pro is engineered to land far below the cost of many established mid-size pickups, while delivering a feature set that feels current rather than compromised. Under the hood, the powertrain philosophy follows the same logic. Turbocharged gasoline and diesel options provide usable torque and steady acceleration without chasing inflated output figures. These engines are designed for global markets, where fuel efficiency, reliability, and service access matter more than marketing headlines. The result is performance that feels predictable and confidence-inspiring in daily use. It does not overwhelm, it simply works, and that consistency builds trust faster than spectacle ever could. Inside the cabin, the T8 Pro begins to reveal its real threat. The interior is not Spartan, it is thoughtfully modern. A central touchscreen anchors the dashboard, paired with a digital instrument display that delivers clear information without clutter. Materials are selected to feel durable while still offering a sense of refinement. Stitching, trim accents, and soft touch surfaces appear where they matter most, creating an environment that feels intentional rather than cost-driven. Seating comfort reflects the same balance. Front seats provide support for long drives, while the rear bench offers usable space that accommodates adults without forcing compromise. Climate control, connectivity, and storage solutions are integrated cleanly, reinforcing the idea that this truck is meant to handle everyday life without friction. Nothing inside screams luxury, yet nothing feels outdated either. That middle ground is precisely where pricing pressure becomes most uncomfortable for competitors. Safety and driver assistance systems further complicate the picture. Modern expectations are met through stability control, multiple airbags, braking assistance, and available driver support features that mirror what buyers see in far more expensive trucks. The T8 Pro does not attempt to overwhelm with autonomous claims. Instead, it focuses on delivering the essentials that regulators demand and drivers rely on. That restraint keeps costs down while preserving credibility. The emotional weight of the T8 Pro comes from how little justification it gives its rivals. When a truck offers modern styling, functional performance, comfortable interiors, and acceptable safety at a significantly lower price, it forces an uncomfortable reassessment. Buyers begin asking where the extra money goes. Manufacturers are pushed to defend trims, packages, and features that once seemed non-negotiable. Dealers feel pressure as entry points shift downward and financing conversations grow shorter. Pressure escalates as pricing becomes concrete, not conceptual. Mid-size comparisons sharpen. Brands no longer deflect. Denial fades fast. Scale moves forward, silent yet forceful, shifting the tone from discomfort into reckoning. Excuses thin. Margins strain. Familiar ground begins to crack. The next one on this list, though, doesn't predict that shift, it embodies it. If this breakdown is already changing how you see truck pricing, hit like so it reaches more people, subscribe for upcoming market shifts, and share your take below on which brand feels the most exposed as these price pressures build. Changan Hunter, momentum becomes dangerous when it stops asking for permission and simply advances through the middle of the market. The Changan Hunter, also known as the Landtop or F70, depending on region, arrives at number 3 because it represents the point where efficiency, scale, and confidence intersect. This is not an experimental pickup or a stripped utility tool. It is a fully realized mid-sized truck engineered by one of China's largest automakers, designed from the start to compete directly with global nameplates that have dominated the segment for decades. What makes it unsettling is not a single feature, but the way everything adds up. Visually, the Hunter communicates seriousness. The front end carries a wide grille framed by sharp lighting elements that project authority without excess. The stance is planted and proportional, with a body shape that feels immediately familiar yet subtly refined. There is no exaggerated aggression, no novelty for novelty's sake. Instead, the design reflects a deliberate effort to look established, as if the truck has always belonged in this space. That familiarity lowers resistance and accelerates comparison, which is exactly where pressure begins. From the side, the Hunter's dimensions place it squarely in the mid-size category. The cab and bed proportions balance usability with maneuverability, making it suitable for daily driving as well as heavier tasks. Body panels are clean and efficient to manufacture, while details like wheel arches and character lines add visual strength without driving up production cost. This is a truck shaped by manufacturing logic as much as aesthetics. Underneath, the engineering continues that theme. The Hunter rides on a body-on-frame platform designed for global durability standards. Turbocharged gasoline and diesel engines provide steady torque and dependable output rather than headline-chasing numbers. These powertrains are tuned for real-world conditions, prioritizing drivability, efficiency, and long-term reliability. The result is performance that feels confident without feeling stressed, which matters far more over years of ownership than peak figures on paper. Inside the cabin, the Hunter reveals how far expectations have shifted. The interior is modern, cohesive, and comfortable. A central infotainment screen integrates navigation, connectivity, and vehicle settings, paired with a digital driver display that presents information clearly. Materials are selected to balance cost and comfort, with soft touch surfaces in high contact areas and durable finishes where wear is expected. The layout feels contemporary, not dated, and that alone challenges assumptions about what lower-priced trucks should look like. Seating comfort reinforces the message. The front seats support long drives without fatigue, while the rear bench offers genuine leg room for adults. Climate control systems, storage solutions, and connectivity options are integrated cleanly, creating an environment that feels considered rather than compromised. This is not a cabin that apologizes for its price. It simply delivers what modern drivers expect. Safety and assistance systems add another layer of credibility. Stability control, airbags, braking assistance, and available driver support technologies align with global regulatory requirements. The Hunter does not rely on futuristic promises. It focuses on meeting present-day standards efficiently. That approach keeps costs controlled while preserving trust, which is critical when entering competitive markets. The true weight of the Changan Hunter comes from scale. Changan operates at a manufacturing volume that allows it to spread development costs across millions of vehicles. That scale translates directly into pricing flexibility. When a truck like this approaches the $19,999 conversation, it does not feel unrealistic. It feels inevitable. And inevitability is far more destabilizing than novelty. Emotionally, the Hunter shifts the discussion from entry-level disruption to mainstream pressure. This is where buyers begin comparing like for like. Similar size, similar capability, similar comfort, radically different prices. Once those comparisons become common, the segment feels strain. Incentives increase, margins tighten. The old pricing ladder starts losing rungs. Scale stops being a quiet advantage here and becomes an active pressure exposing how fragile legacy pricing really is. Familiar trim structures, profit assumptions, and brand premiums start to feel unstable once buyers begin comparing capability instead of tradition. The shift is no longer theoretical. It's happening on real lots, in live listings, and in everyday ownership choices, without waiting for hype cycles or distant promises. What rarely gets discussed alongside pricing is timing friction, the lag between when disruption becomes obvious and when institutions are able to respond. Regulatory frameworks, dealership models, unionized labor structures, and supplier contracts were all built around higher price assumptions. When trucks like these expose a lower cost reality, the response cannot be immediate. Legacy manufacturers are slow not because they are unaware, but because their systems are rigid. This delay creates a window where consumer perception shifts faster than corporate adaptation. During that window, hesitation becomes expensive. Buyers wait, inventory lingers, incentives rise. The disruption compounds not through dominance, but through inertia. There is also a psychological shift underway that pricing alone cannot explain. For decades, pickup ownership in North America has been tied to identity, status, and narrative heritage brands, trim hierarchies, and emotional loyalty. What these trucks challenge is not just affordability, but mythology. When competence becomes ordinary and price becomes transparent, loyalty weakens. Buyers begin thinking like operators instead of fans. They compare outcomes, not stories. That shift is subtle, but once it takes hold, it does not reverse easily. Markets don't just change when better products arrive. They change when belief systems quietly expire. Now what happens when this pricing disruption meets electrification head-on without the luxury markup? Geely Radar RD6. Electric disruption rarely arrives wrapped in noise and bravado. Sometimes it enters quietly, carrying numbers that refuse to be ignored. The Geely Radar RD6 earns the number 2 position because it dismantles one of the most profitable assumptions in the modern pickup market: that electric trucks must be expensive, oversized, or positioned as luxury statements. This truck does none of that. Instead, it approaches electrification as a practical evolution, not a premium upgrade, and in doing so, it places intense pressure on every electric and gasoline pickup above it in price. At first glance, the RD6 does not posture like a traditional workhorse. Its exterior leans toward clean surfaces, aerodynamic efficiency, and modern restraint. The front end replaces aggressive grills with a smooth, sealed design that signals its electric nature without shouting it. Lighting elements are slim and deliberate, emphasizing width and stability rather than intimidation. The overall stance feels planted and confident, projecting capability through balance rather than bulk. From the side, the proportions tell a deliberate story. This is a mid-size pickup, shaped to fit daily environments as easily as outdoor escapes. The cab and bed integrate smoothly, avoiding the awkward transitions common in early electric conversions. Wheel arches are defined but not exaggerated, and the roofline flows cleanly to reduce drag. Every contour reflects efficiency, which matters when range becomes part of the ownership equation. The engineering beneath the surface is where the RD6 separates itself. Built on a dedicated electric platform developed by Geely, the truck avoids compromises that plague retrofitted designs. Battery placement is low and centralized, improving stability and ride quality. Electric motors deliver immediate torque, creating smooth and confident acceleration without the noise or vibration associated with internal combustion engines. The result is a driving experience that feels controlled, predictable, and surprisingly refined. Range is treated as a usable tool rather than a marketing boast. The RD6 offers enough distance to support daily driving, extended commutes, and weekend travel without constant anxiety. Charging capability aligns with modern electric vehicle standards, allowing fast replenishment on public infrastructure and steady home charging overnight. This balance makes the truck viable as a primary vehicle, not a secondary experiment. Inside the cabin, the RD6 reinforces its practical philosophy. The interior layout is minimalist but intentional, centered around a wide touchscreen that manages navigation, connectivity, and vehicle systems. The digital driver display presents speed, range, and energy data clearly, keeping attention where it belongs. Materials emphasize durability and comfort rather than luxury excess, creating an environment that feels modern without being fragile. Seating comfort supports long drives, and rear passenger space accommodates adults without compromise. Storage solutions are integrated thoughtfully throughout the cabin, acknowledging real-world use. Climate control, connectivity, and driver assistance systems function seamlessly, reinforcing the sense that this truck was designed for everyday life, not showroom theater. One of the RD6's most disruptive features is its vehicle-to-load capability. This system allows the truck to supply electricity to external equipment, transforming it into a mobile power source. Tools, camping equipment, lighting, appliances, and electronics can draw energy directly from the vehicle anywhere. This capability expands the definition of utility, especially in environments where access to power determines productivity, safety, comfort, flexibility, and overall independence during work, travel, emergencies, and extended off-grid use scenarios today. The emotional impact of the RD6 emerges when pricing enters the discussion. In its home market, the truck positions itself far below electric pickups sold in the United States. Even after accounting for regulatory adjustments, shipping, and compliance, the core cost structure remains dramatically lower. When an electric pickup approaches the $19,999 conversation, it forces a fundamental reevaluation of value. This is where pressure intensifies. Gasoline pickups must justify fuel costs and maintenance. Electric pickups above this price must justify their premiums. The RD6 stands in the middle, offering electric efficiency, modern technology, and practical utility without luxury inflation. That combination is not just competitive, it is destabilizing. Electrification redirects pressure away from fuel preference towards structural cost reality. Operating expense math takes priority. Manufacturing efficiency gains weight. Ownership calculations overpower brand storytelling. Price ladders weaken under scrutiny. Incentives lose leverage. Buyers reassess value through numbers rather than habit, emotion, tradition, marketing promises. Legacy strategies appear rigid, outdated, increasingly misaligned with present market demands, shaped by scale, efficiency, visible proof. The final position in this countdown belongs to trucks already functioning inside that reality. Not concepts, not forecasts. Active platforms, proving capability, pricing discipline, global scale in daily use. This is where speculation ends, comparison sharpens, narratives collapse, expectations reset. JAC Maxus T70, T90, the most disruptive trucks, rarely arrive with spectacle. They arrive already proven, already working, and already rewriting the math. The JAC Maxus T70 and T90 sit at number 1 because they represent the point where theory ends and reality takes over. These trucks are not previews, concepts, or speculative disruptors. They are production pickups already operating in multiple global markets, performing daily labor, transporting families, and logging miles without ceremony. What makes them dangerous is not novelty, but normalization. They prove that lower pricing, real capability, and large-scale manufacturing can coexist without collapse. Visually, the T70 and T90 avoid extremes. The designs are confident but restrained, leaning into familiar pickup proportions that immediately feel credible. Upright front ends, squared shoulders, and balanced bed dimensions communicate function first. There is no attempt to disguise what these trucks are. They look like pickups because they are pickups. And that familiarity lowers psychological resist the moment. Comparison. When something looks this normal, it invites scrutiny rather than skepticism. Under the skin, the engineering philosophy is equally direct. Both trucks ride on body-on-frame platforms engineered for durability across varied conditions. Powertrain options span gasoline, diesel, and fully electric configurations depending on market, each selected to meet regulatory requirements without inflating complexity. This flexibility allows the same core truck architecture to adapt across regions while maintaining cost control. Scale does the rest. Inside, the cabins reflect a deliberate balance. These are not stripped interiors, nor are they indulgent. Touchscreens anchor the dashboard, paired with digital driver displays that present information clearly and without distraction. Materials are selected for longevity, with soft touch surfaces in key areas and durable finishes where wear is expected. Seating supports long drives, rear space accommodates adults comfortably, and storage solutions reflect real use rather than design theater. The emotional shift happens when usage enters the discussion. These trucks are already employed by contractors, fleets, and private owners who depend on them daily. Payload ratings, towing capability, and operating costs are not theoretical. They are measured and repeated. Electric variants add another layer, offering reduced running expenses and simplified maintenance without sacrificing utility. That combination reshapes expectations quickly once it becomes visible. Pricing is where the conversation breaks open. In global markets, the T70 and T90 are positioned far below comparable pickups from legacy brands. Even after accounting for compliance adjustments, the underlying manufacturing cost advantage remains intact. When a full-size capable pickup approaches the $19,999 threshold, it destabilizes every pricing ladder above it. Entry trims feel inflated, mid-trims feel exposed, high trims begin to look defensive. The reason this matters is structural. SAIC operates at a scale few automakers can match. Development costs are spread across massive production volumes. Supply chains are vertically integrated. Component sourcing is optimized across regions and suppliers. This allows pricing flexibility that smaller manufacturers cannot replicate over time. The result is not a race to the bottom, but a recalibration of what sustainable pricing actually looks like when efficiency, scale, and discipline align across engineering, logistics, manufacturing, and long-term planning, without sacrificing capability, reliability, or global market resilience under sustained competitive pressure and evolving regulatory environments worldwide today and forward. Emotionally, the impact comes from inevitability. The T70 and T90 do not rely on hype cycles. They do not depend on early adopters or niche appeal. They function as normal trucks. And that normality is the threat. Once people see them operating without drama, the narrative shifts. Questions move from whether they can work to why alternatives cost so much more. They do not ask the market to imagine a different future. They present one already in motion. When trucks like this expand into new regions, pricing conversations do not slowly evolve. They snap. Discounts follow. Incentives grow. Margins compress. And explanations begin to sound hollow. Normalization delivers the final impact, because once trucks like this operate quietly in real environments, pricing myths collapse without warning, leaving manufacturers scrambling to justify numbers that no longer align with visible capability, scale, efficiency, or ownership reality. While the market moves forward under new expectations that cannot be reversed, negotiated away, or softened through messaging. Once exposure replaces speculation entirely, what you just saw is not a prediction. It is a pressure test already underway. 2026 is not about novelty or hype. It is about recalibration. Whether prices fall quietly or collapse publicly, direction is set. Stay alert, stay informed, and remember that timing often matters more than loyalty when markets finally shift this fast.